From what I'm understanding, this is your intercooler, both of those two, and your blow-off valve is just going to go on this coupler here with that T that it came with. In order to do that, you have to take this off a little bit. We're going to pull this off, replace that with their coupler, and replace this with their T coupler, and then put the blow-off valve there. Then the blow-off valve needs a vacuum source, so it has you go and tee it off from somewhere else. I'll show you that as I get there. I'm going to take this side off, get familiar with it, and then I'll record myself taking the passenger side off. Alright, so I did the driver's side. Boop. I wanted to go ahead and do the driver's side first so I can walk you through a little bit, do the head cam for the passenger side, a little bit more straightforward. Pretty much the exact same, except I saw you need to change your angle on the passenger side. This is all I needed. Install the actual parts, not the vacuum lines. We'll get to that. You want to install both and then do the vacuum setup. That way you're not halfway through the vacuum setup. Anyways, so you have a 12mm socket for 4 bolts on the intercooler, and then a 6/6 extension is long enough. Needle nose for possibly the 2 connectors that you have to undo. 2 different size flatheads just in case, just to get into there and take off the hose clamps that you can't get with the socket. It is 7mm, and I use a stubby just so it's not in the way. And then 8mm for the new hose clamp that Z1 sends you. This is a 7mm wrench just in case you don't need it. I didn't need it. But that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and install the actual hardware, I guess. And you don't need to replace this coupler. Maybe it's better than the stock coupler. I don't know. Maybe just a match. But you definitely don't need to install the small coupler for the throttle body. But while you have it off, you might as well. This is a 2018, so it's 4 years old. Doesn't hurt, I guess. But yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to get to the head cam and hopefully knock this out smoothly. There's a couple connectors down here. We have one here, and the other one should be in there because it was on the right side on the other one. I'll show you. So over here we have one connector. Boop, there we go. That connector. And then that connector for the TPS. That lower one, I don't know what it is. On this side, I'm not seeing it. Hopefully it's not way down in there, hard to get to. But we'll see as we get it off. Let's go. One thing I didn't like factory is that they do these hose clamps 2 different ways. And this bottom one is hard to get off. So on the install, I recommend if you're going to be, tuning it and putting through abuse, get both of these upwards. That way it's easy to take off. Because I had a real hard time getting under this one because there's no room back here.
No! God, please, no! No!
Finished up the install. It took me quite a while just because I dropped a wrench, and trying to find it took me hours. Anyways, don't drop a wrench. Okay, so boom, we got it installed. I got the Z1 logo facing up. Same on the throttle body coupler, just to look good. That's the passenger side. Over here on the driver's side, the upper clamp broke, so I'm gonna go buy a hose clamp. I always had. Oh, you can see the clearance here is pretty decent. Z1, got it looking pretty good. Yeah, so unfortunately I couldn't find my hose clamp kits that I've had. We're gonna do the vacuum lines tomorrow. I have to go get an angled needle nose pliers for back there. I can't get it with mine, and I left my other set at work. So I'll get those, finish this up tomorrow. Pretty much just vacuum lines, it's easy. I'm gonna go from there, tee it off, route it under here, tee it off to those two. And then we're good to go. We'll run it up, see what happens. Alright, day 2. Basically just finishing up. I got my vacuum lines here and the tees that it comes with, zip ties. Blow-off valves are installed. Now I'm just going to route the vacuum lines. There's a line back here that's really hard to get to, so I actually had to go grab some 90-degree needle nose pliers and 45-degree. They should both work. But we'll get started on that. Got this hose clamp out. It was a pain. I needed an angled and a 90 just to get it out. But looks good now. So I cut this hose in half. I'm going to use the OEM clamp. Sometimes these things are a pain in the ass to get off. little walkthrough. It is done. Looks pretty good. You can see I routed the vacuum lines almost seamlessly. The only thing that's really sticks out is like the vacuum line in front of the dipstick. But yeah, I ran it under here. You cannot see where it's coming from. Looks pretty sweet. I don't really like the T setup they had me do. Yeah, we'll have light on it. See right there? And then just zip tie it to another line. That's okay. But back there it was definitely difficult to get to. The new coupler, let me take some light off it. Got the Z1 facing up, and then the Z1 facing up on the Turbosmart blow-off valve. I guess they did a collaboration or something. Just got to get that hose clamp for the top, but it's done. Before I start it, I'm going to obviously put the hose clamp so there's no vacuum leak. But yeah, I got the Z1 facing up on this one too. Z1 up there. Looks pretty sick. It's going to have the engine cover on, so you might not see it. I think you might see the blow-off valve sticking out. But yeah, this thing's sweet. It's got the alpha intakes, the BMS heat exchanger I did. You can go see my other video. And we did an AM downpipe 3-inch. So this thing's ready to make some noise. I'm going to put a tune on it in a little bit. I just got to read a little bit about it, make sure I know what I'm doing. But we're done here. Wasn't too bad. The biggest thing is do not drop a tool. I spent 3 hours looking for tools. Do not drop a tool. Also, the biggest thing to take away from these blow-off valves is it's not an easy job. If you're not mechanically inclined and you haven't worked on cars, I definitely suggest having someone who knows what they're doing with you, or just pay someone to do it, because there's definitely some pretty difficult sections to get to back in here, and then even just the factory hose clamps by the firewall was pretty difficult to get, and you need the right tools, you know, the angled pliers, needle nose pliers. It doesn't take too long. I think it took me, not looking for my wrench that I dropped, it took me 5 hours maybe. It wasn't too bad, maybe even less, but definitely something that you need to know what you're doing. You have to be good with your hands. And then this coupler is actually, it's actually smaller than this coupler, so pay attention to that. And but yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys will watch my oil catch can install. Hopefully the video comes out good. I'm about to attempt it and see what happens. It looks pretty simple from what I've seen, so see you guys later. All right, let's make some noise. Yeah, boy. I ain't gonna stand and let it go. I ain't being big to the light,